So, this might contradict a lot of what I've been saying lately in terms of what I wanted from this season, but I fucking loved Lux. I thought it was such a good episode. There was so much cringe, but like, I don't know, the cringe was endearing, if that makes sense. And I feel like that happens a lot with Doctor Who, where like the cringe is just so endearing, and I'm like, but yeah, this episode was great. It was essentially I would call it a remake of, let me close Discord. It seems like people are, the second I start to record, of course, people start messaging me, even though I don't get any messages before that. Anyway, yeah, it seems like it was almost like a soft remake of, oh my god, what was the Devil's Chord, yeah, which was, I thought, was a terrible episode. And they pretty much did the same, and it's crazy that the one where they used the Beatles as the premise like was terrible, and this one was great. They pretty much did the same kind of thing again, but instead of music focused, it was like film focused. And no, I thought the villain was so fun, and like, you know, and I think the issue is, I said I was so sick of this Pantheon bullshit, but I feel like this episode recontextualized my understanding of what they're doing here. And this all really completely depends on Russell sticking the landing and doing what I think he's doing. But I actually posted I was going to say tweet, a blue sky post, if you will, about how this episode had me feeling like I did when I was first getting into the show in high school. Like, season 7B was the first season I watched live as it aired, and I remember like all the theorization and thinking and everything like that, and like it gave me that same feeling again, and that's what I loved about it. I guess I haven't had that feeling from Doctor Who in quite a while, so I really love that. Like watching all of the, like, I watched Flux live, I watched a lot of most of the Capaldi era live, and like I didn't get that feeling, but here I'm having that feeling again of like, oh, that my brain moving miles a minute trying to theorize about what's going on. And that was really exciting, and that was really fun. And I think it like gave me that sensation. I really appreciate it for giving me that sensation. But I think if they're going where I think they're going with this, and this episode kind of did that, I think it'll be very interesting. I think what they're trying to do, because there's a sequence in this episode where like they literally break through the fourth wall, and they're in like the room of a group of like Whovians watching the show, and they like talk to them and have the conversation, and then like they're like, oh, we're not real, we're part of the show, and you're the real, like you're the universe, and you think that's the subversion that they're doing here. But then the episode ends and they're still around, and they're like, oh, like I guess we were real and this is real, like and I love that twist, because I think a lot of people have been theorizing this last season and this season as well. I think they really are building up to the idea, like the arc that he's in a TV show, and I like that this is that they're like currently in a TV show and they're not operating in their reality of the universe, and that might be what Russell is trying to do with his era. I don't know. It could very well be. It could not be. I could be totally misconstruing it, but I think that seems to be what's going on, especially with all the misled like fourth wall breaking stuff. I think that since a certain point, like everything seems to go back to Wild Blue Yonder, so let's, like, why not say Wild Blue Yonder, because that's when the Pantheon was like first brought in. But no, didn't the Meep mention the Pantheon or something? Ever since like Russell took the helm again, there's been like the Pantheon has been such a big focus, and like there's been all these fourth wall breaking stuff, like the I mean, in the Devil's Chord it was blatant, and like Miss Flood every second, and like things just kind of like with the Pantheon working very weirdly, and like I don't know, a lot of people have already been theorizing that that's the arc that they're going for right now, is that they're in a TV show, and what really sold it to me not only is that fourth wall breaking in this episode and what they ended up doing with that fourth wall breaking, but also the like whole point where it's like, what is it, May 24th? They keep saying like they can't get back to May 24th, something's wrong with May 24th, like, and then does Lux say that? Someone in this episode says something about May 24th specifically, like it all ends on May 24th, and it's like, I looked it up. That's when the first part of the finale two-parter is airing in real life. So it makes so much sense that like they're doing this like in a TV show kind of, and I really think that's where they're going with this. And I think it's going to be like I said in my first video, it seems like they're doing like the mystery of the season as a Mod Podge of all the other like continuous mysteries that they've been doing in the past seasons of the modern iteration of the show. Like there's person scattered across time, face scattered across time and space. There's missing planets. There's weird time fluctuation. Can't get back to like something wrong with the day or the planet. There's like there's all these little there's all these little sparks from like past mysteries that it makes so much sense that it's culminating in this way. And I think it will be, I hope it's used, like I said in the last episode, my thoughts, as a clever commentary of like, you know, the Doctor's need for this like companion that drives a mystery arc. Like he needs that in his life. Like he's so desperate for it, you know? And I think that's what they're going for. And I hope that's what they're going for. And if this falls flat again, like the mystery last season, like that'll be bad. Russell will have lost his touch completely. But overall, I really did like this episode. Like I said, like, even though I'm sick and tired of the Pantheon shit, if this is what it's building up for, that this is all part of, like, a TV show type premise, like, and, like, maybe this, like, that's why they broke it into new seasons, because it's, like, the new show, you know? And, like, there's some sort of entity, maybe it's Mrs. Flood, or maybe it's something else that's, like, you know, facilitating that. Like, I would be, like, I think it makes a lot more sense. But who knows? Who knows? I just think this episode specifically led a lot more credence to the theory that's been going around, that this is like the arc of this is that they're like is the TV, that they're in a TV show. I think it's much more plausible now. But this episode as a standalone was very fun. You know, there was the resolution was incredible. Like all the resolution and stuff were incredibly contrived. But I feel like that happens all the time with Doctor Who, you know, and the side characters are very boring and bland and are very one note, but that happens all the time with Doctor, you know. But the episode itself was incredibly fun. The vibes were great, and I loved the villain. The villain was like so fun, and like, yeah, it was literally, this just felt like a better draft of the Devil's Cord. Like the Devil's Cord was terrible, and this was like, oh, they kind of did the same thing again with like a Pantheon member like being really in 1950s 60s era, like. But it was just so much more well done and so much better done. So, yeah, I love this episode. It was great. It has me, like, reeling like I was back in, like, as a teenager getting into the show. You know, it has me feeling that way. So I give it all the credit in the world for that. So I'm excited to see next week's episode. It seems like it'll be more serious. Did we see the Doctor crying in the preview? And I'm just like, oh my, he didn't cry this episode. I will say that. Yeah, if you're just watching this review and haven't seen my past ones, something I've noticed is that in almost every single 15th Doctor story he cries, which I love the Doctor crying. I think that's a great device when it's used incredibly sparingly. And the fact that it's used in almost every single 15th Doctor story takes away all of its power. It's not an issue of the Doctor crying, it's the issue of the frequency. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. See if you agree with any of my theorization or just overall thoughts on the episode. We'll talk Doctor Who. And, yeah, thanks for watching.